Okay, guys, as we do every Friday, we're doing our Discovery episode review. Warning before I go any further, there will be spoilers. There is a card at the beginning telling you that, but I'm just reiterating it. And today's episode is episode 6, which is titled Scavengers. I'll be honest, I don't think this episode will be very long to do the outline of because there's not really a massive amount to it. The nice thing is the pace is slower, not like the last one where everything was rammed in and it was hard to follow. This one's a fairly simple story, really. Right, okay, so we start the episode where Saru's talking to Admiral Vance, and it's made quite clear at the start that the ship has been upgraded to the new tech. And they're going to be the first responders should an incident take place. They're watching, I forget his name, but it's an enemy of theirs anyway. And they're watching him because there's some sort of treaty going on and they might need Discovery to respond to it should it not go ahead. So that's what's happening now. We find out the ship's basically had its nacelles separated from the actual ship. Like, they do something, they move apart and it's invisible. You see like a cloud of sort of what looks like smoke or steam, and then they separate and there's nothing holding them to the actual ship. And then you see some of the other things, like you find out their badge is now not only a comm badge, but it's also a tricorder, it's also a personal transporter as well. And there's a couple of bits throughout the episode where one of the crewmen in particular keeps popping up in random areas. It's done for comic relief, but if I'm honest, doesn't really land. But he seems to appear at awkward times, and yeah, it's Discovery and it's what they do. So it's a bit jarring, but yeah. And once again, swearing again. 4-letter word gets used, starting with S. I'm not going to say it. More than once, and to be honest with you, once again, unnecessary, but this is something that Discovery also does. You find out that the ship also has been upgraded with a different type of interface. I forget what they call it, but it's basically matter. So instead of touching like sort of touch screens or switches or whatever, it comes out and your hands are actually physically touching something. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you've watched it, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, so, right, getting to the main point of the episode. Right, so basically Booker's ship appears and it's allowed to come in through the energy barrier. And when they get the hail and they open it, you see the cat. So it's basically his cat. And then there's a recorded hologram message which basically explains that he'd programmed the ship that if he didn't come back in 24 hours that it should go to the Federation. And you find out that he's looking for the black box from a ship that could explain how the burn happened. And basically he's tracking it down. And like I say, if he didn't come back to the ship within 24 hours, it was programmed to go and tell her. So basically what happens here is Burnham realises that something's happened to him. So she says to Saru, I want to go and find him. Well, she doesn't even really ask. She sort of tells him. And Saru's like, basically in a nutshell, I'm the captain. No, you're not doing that. We're on high alert sort of thing. So, no. And like Michael does, she just does it anyway. Why on earth Saru would make her first officer, I don't know, because we know she's got form for this, but there you go. So, within 6 episodes of season 3, she's disobeying orders again. What is it with this character? She never learns. But anyway. And obviously she decides that she's going to take Giorgio with her. And is it just me or the actor that plays Giorgio? Can she not act? I don't... Her acting is very flat at times. I mean, I know she's meant to be some sort of narcissist, but it's very like, physical acting, if you like, is good. But when she's talking, I just don't buy into it. I don't believe it. And there's a lot of her in this, and yeah, you really notice it. Um, some of the insults she uses are quite funny, but we'll get to that. Um, so yeah, anyway, they go off to look for Booker, and they find out that it's basically he's on a planet in the middle of what's controlled by the Orions and the Andorians, and they go there posing as wanting to do a trade for their dilithium for some parts they need. Of course, this is just a ruse so they can get on the planet and find out what happened. And in a nutshell, long and short of it is, it's kind of like a prison. These are people that are having to work for this little syndicate because they've either done something or they owe money to them or whatever. You find out there's even an Andorian that's actually prisoner there, and he's actually basically their doctor, if you like. And you find out that something happened to him. He opposed the Andorians, and they cut off his antennas and dumped him there as well. He kind of plays a little part in this because at the end, obviously, there's a jailbreak, and he ends up going with them. And I imagine he's probably going to end up being a mainstay character, I think, judging by the way the episode moves. He does get injured. He jumps in the way of a phaser blast or laser blast. It's hard to say what it is that they're using, really. They don't really look like phasers, but he jumps in the way of it. Someone goes to shoot, an Andorian goes to shoot Booker, and he jumps in and gets shot. So, yeah, and basically that's the long and short of it. It's just a prison break. So, now, one of the things I want to point out, this prison break, man, they're really nicking ideas a lot. I mean, Discovery's got a form for this anyway, but my God, this one really ripped off Running Man big time. There's a part where there's a guy that's sort of working with Booker, moving parts around, and he steals a water ration, and so they basically make him run and start shooting at him. And he's running towards an energy barrier, like a pylon thing that controls like a perimeter. You know, see where I'm going with this, Running Man? And they've got these like chips on the back of, well, say a chip, it's, like a round thing on the back of their neck, basically a chip, if you like. And it becomes quite evident that if you go outside the barrier, something bad's going to happen to you. And, I'm already looking at it thinking you're ripping Running Man off pretty bad. But then I realised to what extent, because when he runs through the barrier, his head explodes. So they basically lifted it from Running Man, and it looks almost the same the way it happens as well. The way he's running and that, is even the area that they're in, like this prison sort of bit that they're in, it's like a steel mill, which is exactly what it's like in Running Man. So, they haven't just nicked a couple of ideas, they pretty much nicked that whole beginning of Running Man and just inserted it in this episode. Yeah, that I thought was really bad. I mean, you could at least try and change it a bit, So, other things that happens is Giorgio has another one of her spaced out moments, and in fact he even collapses to the floor while Michael's in a fight, and she's telling her they basically jerry-rigged some sort of weapon, and she's telling her basically to shoot him or whatever, but she's like sort of passed out on the floor. So it becomes evident to Michael by the end of the episode that something's wrong with her, but you don't get any closer to finding out. They get back to the Federation. They've got the black box, which isn't a black box. It's like a sort of silver rod thing. And there's a little bit telling. When they're explaining to Vance about it, he's kind of dressing down Michael, but he's also saying to Saru, why didn't you come to me with this? I might have sanctioned this if I had known, sort of thing. It's important. So there's obviously, a disconnect between Saru and Michael at this point. But there's something mentioned about, Michael says, like, I need to know. I've been looking for a year and a half. I need to know what happens, what caused the burn. and he sort of pulls her face, which makes me wonder if he actually knows. Yeah, there's something going on there. So obviously it will become more evident later on in the season, but I'd say it's clear that he knows. He's either responsible or he knows who is. So yeah, it was just a weird sort of look he gives. So, but then he makes it clear to Saru that he'll leave Saru to discipline Michael, and basically he knocks Michael down from first officer. It becomes quite evident in this episode that Saru now doesn't trust Michael again, and he even compares it to what she did in the first episode, where she disobeyed orders and her captain got killed. So we're going down this storyline again, where he don't trust her, and it's like, yeah, we've done this before, boring, move on. You know, so I don't really understand what they're doing. I mean, it started really well this season, and it's now starting to repeat itself in places. They're lifting whole scenes out of movies or other programs. You know, I don't know. The wheels are falling off, guys. The wheels are falling off, which I was hoping wouldn't happen. Now, going back to what I said about Giorgio, she does make some quite good insults in this, and it is quite funny. I mean, she keeps calling the Orion guy a meatbag, which is quite funny. I mean, like I say, her acting's not great, but the insults are quite good. Just a pity that if she was acting better, I'd find it more believable when she's insulting him. But she basically goes through most of the episodes insulting this guy. So, but yeah, like I said, there's unnecessary swearing from Tilly. And what makes it worse is that when she does it more than once. And Saru even says, my sentiments exactly. And it's like, I can't imagine a captain would do that. But anyway, so there's a weird sort of bonding moment between Stamets and Adira. He notices she's talking to herself. And then she tells him, for some reason, I can see my boyfriend, and obviously the symbiote come out of him. I don't know why, but I can see him. And he says, I believe you, sort of thing. And she's like, you don't think I'm crazy, sort of thing. And he says, look, I've learned through all my experiences that have happened not to... He basically says, I don't underestimate anything. Anything's possible, sort of thing, you know. Because obviously he compares it to Hugh living, dying, and then coming back, sort of thing. So he just believes her. So there's a little bonding moment. Now, that would have been quite good, but it just, again, just seemed a bit sort of cheesy, forced. Again, not great acting in that scene, and the dialogue is not great either. So I was kind of sitting there pulling a face, you know, like this. Sort of, you know, like, it was a bit cringy. So, yeah, not a bad episode, you know. We've seen it all before, haven't we, in Trek? Admittedly, we haven't seen it to a point where it's ripped off Running Man, but we've seen orders disobeyed. We've seen prison breaks. We've definitely seen orders disobeyed in Discovery, because, let's be honest, Michael does it all the time. And, again, this is another episode where it's Michael's so great, Michael does everything, you know, and the rest of the crew kind of gets forgotten about. So... yeah, the good thing about it is because it's not massively great and it's not massively important, if you like, it means my review of it's a lot shorter. Because last week's one ran really long, because that episode was ridiculous. Like, at least with this one, it's simpler. I did prefer the slower pace. So... yeah, it's just a shame, like I say. I mean, a big part of this episode is Giorgio, and I just don't think that the actress that plays is very good at acting. So, and I think it kind of spoilt it a bit. I think the episode could have been better had it have been someone who's better at acting. So, I don't know, it might be just me. I mean, if you disagree, let me know. But I don't know, when she when she says things, she just sounds like she's reading it. She doesn't sound like it's coming from her, like a real emotion behind it. Now, I know she's meant to be almost emotionless because she's meant to be like a narcissistic killer, if you like, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's coming from her. It's, you know, it sounds like she's just reading it straight off the script and just saying it, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I've got to be honest, I don't understand why she's still in this series. So don't get me wrong, her character's compelling, but, and the idea of her character's compelling, but she's just a terrible actor. I don't understand why her character weren't written off already, but hey ho. So anyway, yeah, that's the basic outline of the episode. Pretty much covered everything. As we suspected, we thought Discovery would be pushed to the forefront because it's only the only ship that can travel anywhere really at the moment. And we also suspected it would be upgraded, which of course it has been. So it's all, I mean, the bridge for the most part pretty much looks the same. But like I say, all the interfaces, you know, like the controls, you can like sort of pull them out of the display sort of thing. But it's not like sort of computer graphics in the sky hologram sort of thing. It's actual matter that's coming out. So it's things you can touch. Oh, and that's the other thing. Adira changes the spore drive. She puts in like an interface. I think she says it's some sort of bio interface. But anyway, basically, it's like Stamets says it's gooey stuff. He basically puts his hands in and he can control it from there. And then she also gets his little ports removed off his arm, so he now doesn't need them either. So yeah, that was the other little thing that I forgot. It's literally just a little bit that's in there. So yeah, so things have changed in the way the ship's now functioning. So it's now more advanced. So, which we guess would happen, because if they're going to be in the future and they're going to be an important part, obviously they've got to be able to keep up with the other tech that's around. So it makes sense really anyway. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the little notification bell so that you're made aware of all our future videos and live streams. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.